Hi, this is Chris Zoller. I'm the Extension Educator for Agriculture and Natural Resources in Tuscarawas County. And I want to take just a few moments to share with you the results of one of our eFields on-farm research projects that we conducted in 2020. The one I'm going to share with you is our corn seeding rate population trial. We planted this plot on the 7th of May, and it was harvested on October the 1st. It was a channel 210-95 STX. We had a total of 5 treatments in this field that were replicated 4 times. And I want to say a special thank you to Spillman Farms. They were the cooperator for this project, and Spillman Farms has been with the eFields program ever since it started. Great farm family, great management team, and I really appreciate the time they take every year to help the eFields program, to help grow the program, and really contribute their knowledge and expertise to making things successful. So we start off looking at some weather data from 2020. The red line that you see represents the maximum daily temperatures for that time period. The blue line represents the minimum daily temperatures for the time period. And below that you see some bars, and those bars represent the daily precipitation for that time period. You'll also notice a vertical line on the left there. The heading is planting date. And a little bit further to the right is a line that represents the harvest date. So you kind of see that window from planting up through harvest. And then below that is a table that represents kind of summarizes that growing season weather data for the period of April through September. The final column is the total for that. So the first one is precipitation, and right below that you see cumulative GDDs, or growing degree days. And so the thing to note here is that under the July precipitation, we had less than 1.5 inches of rain for July at this location. This field is in the northern part of the county, right along the Tuscarawas River. It's a very sandy soil. And so that lack of moisture really hurt. Being in that sand really hampered that final yield. Had a lot of ears that just didn't develop properly, weren't filled out, stunted, and that sort of thing. So we really needed that precipitation in July that we didn't get. This table summarizes the results of this corn population plot. The first column is the treatments that were applied. So we had a low of 24,000, and then we went up in 3,000 increments to up to 36. So it was 24, 27, 30, 33,000, and 36,000. The next column is average emergence, plants per acre, no problem there, very good emergence across the entire field. The third column represents moisture, and that ranged from about 24.4 up to just over 25, so not a big variation in moisture. And the next column you'll notice is yield. Again, just like moisture, not a lot of variation. There wasn't much variation in yield. The low was 119, the high was 122 across each of those 5 treatments. You'll also note that each of those yield numbers has a letter A following that. That tells us that because each of those letters are the same, there was no statistical difference with those treatments. So then the final column is return above seed cost in dollars per acre. So we're asking the question of the treatments that were applied, which one would result in the highest or the greatest return in dollars per acre above seed cost. For this plot, our 24,000 seeds per acre was the highest at $373 per acre. So again, just to summarize, the seeding rates at the low end was 24,000, the high end was 36,000, and we bumped those up in 3,000 increments. Didn't have any real problems across the field with any diseases that developed. There were no insects present, no weed problems. Had really good emergence across the entire field. You saw on that previous slide, the weather data showed that we didn't get much rain in July, very critical time for the corn plants to put on that grain. And because of that, because of the sandy soil, it did hamper final yield. This is not characteristic for this farm. Generally, if we've got the moisture, this farm can get some really good yields with those corn and soybean crops. And then our financial analysis of our return above seed costs, again, it was highest at the 24,000 seeds per acre. This final slide represents the locations across Ohio in 2020 that had corn population plots. The gray circle represents Fulton County in northwest Ohio. The green and yellow circles represent Miami County. There were 2 farms in Miami County that had corn population plots. and then the red circles represent the Tuscarawas County plot. And so as we look at this, we see at the bottom the target seeding rate in 1,000 seeds per acre. So went from a low of 24,000 up to a high of almost 45,000 seeds per acre. And so as we look at that, we see that there's this 0.95, and most of those circles are at or above that line, which tells us that in each of those locations across the state where these population plots were conducted, we were within 95% of relative yield, regardless of the seeding rate. There was the one in Miami County, the yellow was between 85 and 90%, and one of the green dot represents Miami County that was between 90 and 95%. So overall, between those seeding rates, we were within 95% of relative yield. So the takeaway here is that if you're looking at ways to potentially minimize input costs, and if you're seeding at a higher rate, maybe backing that down will reduce that input cost and not sacrifice yield. So it is something to consider on your own farm and your own situation. Here's my contact information, my email address, my cell phone number. If anyone has questions, would like to discuss the eFields program or this project or others that I've conducted, I'd be happy to talk to folks about that. And then the digitalag.osu.edu/efields, you can access information about eFields, and you can access the 2020 report as well as all prior year reports. So I thank you for your time. And again, if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer those at any point in time. Thank you.